I guess I'll start in like a minute. I feel like people are probably just coming on now.
Yeah, that's fine. Good thing I looked at the button up at the top because apparently it was recording and I stopped it. So let me go
I
for
see it's
another
recording. I see the recording. I
minute.
had to do one of these for my last team in Beachbody, and I spoke to like 200 people, and I forgot to record it, and I felt so, it wasn't like my team, it was like my uppers team, and I just completely forgot to record it until 20 minutes in. So then I like had no idea what to do from there. So I decided to start over, but go super fast and just speak at like 100 miles per hour of like to not go over in time. And then it was just horrible. I was like, this is the worst thing I've ever done. But that was my fault.
Yeah, I had my share of those. My first two that I was done, I forgot to record. So
What'd you forget to bring?
well, the first couple Zoom calls I've done on my own, I forgot to record. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, I learned that lesson the hard way.
Yeah, it happens. I don't care if it's like my team messing up, but then I felt bad because it was like so many more people that wanted to watch the recording. It was just me basically speaking 100 miles an hour, which I do without trying. So it was 200 miles per hour.
We can keep up.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, I guess I'll get started. Is it T you're looking for? Just joined in. That's funny. I like that person, whoever it is. Okay, so I'm going to just start. First of all, thank you everyone for coming on the call, and thanks so much, Nicole, for giving me the honor to speak to your team. I'm just going to first discuss my background a little. Well, first I'll introduce myself, and I will discuss my background and how I got into direct sales and how I learned. Tonight's call is basically based on recruiting, so I'll give a lot of tips with what I do for recruiting and how a lot of it has to do with social media. So I'm not going to touch on social media that much just with respect to recruiting because that's what Nicole asked me for. But I'll give a little bit of background in it and how I got into all of it. So to start, my name's Laura. I am a mom of three. I have a 5-year-old son and 3.5-year-old twin girls. And I am a part-time attorney. I do trust and estates law about 20 to 30, sometimes 40 hours a week. And even 40 hours a week is part-time for attorney work. And I got into direct sales kind of by accident. I was one of those annoying moms. I only gained 14 pounds with my son, and I lost the weight pretty quickly. But as I'm sure you can imagine, with my twins, I did not only gain 14 pounds, I probably gained 14 tons. And it took me months and months to lose the weight. Unlike with my son, I think it was off within the first month. And I was sitting at my friend's kitchen table, and she told me about Beachbody. I decided to join. I liked it. I like the shakes. I like the workouts. I decided to become a discount coach, which means you don't sell anything. And at that time, I started working for my dad. So I was in law firms, big law firms for 9 years. And then subsequent to having the twins, it was just too much to commute to New York from where I live. I live in the middle of nowhere, New Jersey. So it's about 2-hour commute to New York City with traffic. And I started working for my dad, which I felt very fortunate about. I just started to miss the office camaraderie that I had for the last 9 years. And I could see that in the groups, the working coaches were having that camaraderie that I was kind of missing. My whole social life involved 2 7-month-olds and a 2-year-old. And if I got social, it was basically with their friends when we were talking about 2-year-olds and 7-month-olds. So I was just looking for something to keep me occupied with respect to, I'd say, the social aspect of it. And I just saw that people were loving being working coaches and that it brought a lot to their lives. So I got into it and I decided I'll try working the business. And when you signed on my team and decided to work the business, they give you social media training. And I listened to the social media training and I laughed in their faces because I'm not going to get all into it, but they basically tell you to post 3 times a day on Facebook. And all of you who are friends with me now on Facebook will laugh, but I used to only post 2 times a month. 2 pictures a month. That was the max I would allow because I didn't want to annoy anyone on Facebook. And my husband was only allowed to post 1 picture a month. And that was it. And then I got this social media training and I just told them that's not for me, whatever. I ignored it. It took me a year to get my first recruit under Beachbody. And it took me another subsequent year to get to basically the level of, I'd say, the group leader or senior group leader. But in between that time, I decided that I'll actually listen to the social media training and I'll try it because why not? I wasn't really having so much success with recruiting or even with sales, so I might as well try it. And I went from, after doing the training, I went from having marginal, selling marginal amounts of sales to being top 1% in the company. And I went from a team of 6 people to over 50 within the year, which I thought was impressive until obviously tea is an easier opportunity. And now I have 85 people on my team, and I started 6 months ago, but it was just basically doing what they said. And I realized that you're not annoying anyone on Facebook, which was my biggest concern. And I just went with it. And I just wanted to tell you some tips that I have, not so much on social media, that would be a whole other call, as I said, but with respect to recruiting and how I use social media to recruit, and then other tips that I'd have. Obviously, if you're not social media, for not social media purposes, I talk to every single person I meet about how much I love Steep Tea and why I love it, and how it's so fun to be on a ground floor opportunity and all the prizes they give me. If you earn a trip, I earned Rome, I earned a cruise. Whenever people hear that, they obviously want to join in person. And I do talk about it a lot in person. But I'm sure a lot of you are used to that, because I know a lot of you do in-home parties, so you're used to talking about it to people. But don't just talk about it at a tea party, talk about it at a cocktail party, talk about it to anyone, talk about it to your dog. I don't care who you're talking about it. Just make sure you get the word out about Steep Tea and how much you love doing it, because even if your friend doesn't want to do it, but they know someone who's looking for another job, they might refer their friend to you. So always make sure you're talking about it at all times in real life. And I do the same on Facebook. If you keep posting pictures of tea on Facebook, then people are going to just buy your tea. If you post about the business opportunity and how much it means to you and how it's helped you, people are going to want to be a part of the business opportunity. I think it takes a while to realize the difference, but you have to post about why you love being a Steep Tea consultant on your Facebook profile. I do it at least once a week, if not more. I'll get into the social media training. Only 1/3 of your posts in general should be about tea, either the tea or tea business, because nobody wants to see 19 pictures of tea all day on their newsfeed, or they're going to unfollow you. And I'll probably unfollow you too. But if you make it relative and make it interesting and relevant, then people will be intrigued by it. So, I mean, anyone who earns Rome, your friends are looking at you and being like, wow, you earned Rome. That's amazing. Or if you earned the cruise, people are like, wow, I want to earn the cruise. So make sure you tell people, make sure you talk about the business opportunity. I know a lot of people, I always talk about, how the additional income is helping me, and make sure to do that. And I know some people say like, well, I just made $10 last week. It doesn't matter. You use the $10 to spend somewhere. So tell people where you use the $10, or, if it helped pay for your dinner, great. If it helped pay for a part of your dinner, it helps pay for whatever you're using it, people will think the same thing. Last week I posted that, and it's only relevant to where I live because it's absolutely ridiculous, but I posted about the counselor tips that I had to pay for CAM for my kids. And I wrote that I was glad that it came from my Steep, that, because of Steep, I was able to do it without touching my attorney income and my husband's attorney income. And I had 2 people that night contact me and say they want to sign up because they saw that post and they related to it. So you need to make sure that people relate to you on Facebook, and then they want to be like you, and they'll see that you're having a good time with Steeped, and that's why they'll want to join, is because they're seeing. It's called attraction marketing. And also, even if you have a conversation, I mean, Tanya and Melanie are so easy to contact, and they probably hate me because I contact them all the time, but it's amazing that the founder and president are that easy to talk to. And when people hear about that and people see that, and when they're commenting on my pictures or like they write me messages, people are very fascinated that, first of all, they think you're doing better than you are or whatever, because they're so nice and they do that. So I know a lot of people, but it goes to show what type of company it is. And people want to work for that type of company. So if Melanie or Tanya, like when Tanya friended me, I almost went crazy and I posted it, and, everyone was interested in it. I think that week alone, I got 3 new recruits because people saw that it's a small company where the founder and president, I didn't even know Melanie was president at that time, do care about you. So even if it's nothing to do with financial, I know a lot of people don't want to talk about finances on Facebook, and that's fine. But if you feel closer to Tanya or Melanie, or you can't believe they're contacting you, or you love being a part of the team, all of those things, whatever is making the camaraderie, I mean, that's huge for me. So I always post about how I love having the team camaraderie. And I see one of my kids coming in. Okay, sorry. Just post about what makes you happy about doing Steep Tea, because people will want to do it if they see how much it's enhancing your life. For Facebook, this is going to get a little into social media training, just because I think the biggest thing is you want people to relate to you. And the way that people relate to you is you need to figure out non-tea, only post about tea if you're posting 3 times a day, only post about tea once a day, because you don't want to annoy people with tea things all the time. Make sure that you post about other aspects of your life and what makes you relatable to people, because if people think that they're the same as you, they'll want to join too. And everyone's going to say, what should I post about? And that's exactly what I thought. I am a tax attorney and I live in the middle of nowhere, New Jersey. So to make myself relatable to people, it's like, what art could you possibly do? And all you do is think of like 8 or 9 characteristics that have nothing to do with tea and post about that. So obviously I'm a mother, I am an attorney, I am a wife, I am an open heart surgery survivor, I went through infertility for years. All the things that I think define me. I'm a super picky eater. Nobody wants to eat with me. All the things that you think people will relate to, and I've had anxiety, things like that. Put down a list of 8 or 9 things that you think define you and that you would want similar people to join your team, because that's all about. It's like you want the people who would be a good fit on your team to join your team. So think about 8 or 9 characteristics that you would say about yourself, and then you could just continually, for the 2 posts a day or whatever you're going to do, even if you post once a week, whatever you do, for the 2/3 that's not having to do with tea, post about your life and why, and people that will relate to you. So people will relate to you. And there's 2 big things that you want them to relate to you, and you want to add value to their newsfeed or they're going to unfollow you. So with relating to, figure out 8 or 9 characteristics, post about them, and figure out what, then people, I always post about picky eating. I have so many people on my team who are like picky eaters like me, and it's because we can relate to each other. That starts a conversation. Whenever I post about infertility, I have 20 people saying that their sister, cousin, whatever, has infertility issues. Is it okay if they talk to me? But then they realize that you're a legitimate person who is obviously a nice enough person and cares about people enough. And then they would realize that if they're on your team, that you'll care about them as well. So make sure that you do, post not about tea that people relate to. And also for your Facebook newsfeed, and this goes for Instagram too, all of this, just make sure you're adding value to people so that they want to follow your page. I try to be funny. I tend to think I'm hilarious. A lot of times I am laughing at myself. I'll be with a group of friends and I'll be hysterically laughing at myself. And I know the same thing happens on Facebook, because I think I post the funniest post in the world and I get like 1 like, and it's usually my husband because I make him like all my stuff. So, but I try to be funny, and I feel like that's the value added. But there's so many things that you could add value to people's timeline. To your timeline so people could read. A lot of people I know are good cooks. I'm not, so you can come cook for me, but post your recipes. Make sure that you post about like good pictures you take. If you have kids, great. People love seeing cute kids. If you have a cute dog, people love cute dogs. If you have a cute cat, I'm allergic, but people tend to like cat pictures too. If you're a good photographer, you took a great picture of sunset. Anything that people will want to keep going back to your Facebook page. I get stopped all the time in the supermarket and people say how they love following me and they love seeing what I post next. And that's exactly what you want people to think for you, because then it also makes it relatable to you. And they'll relate to you, and they'll want to follow you. And people will not necessarily want to see the tea post the most. They'll say that, but they'll bear with it and see your tea post. But also with your tea post, just quickly make sure you're not just posting a picture of tea and saying this is lovely. Either say why it's helping your day, why you love this tea. If I don't sleep at night, I'll post a picture of matcha and say triple matcha for me today. I need it. Or, I have a stressful attorney day. Here's stress reliever. I did that one day and 6 other attorneys contacted me and said they wanted stress reliever too. So make sure it's, when you are posting about the tea or the tea business, make sure you're also posting a part about your life as well. And one thing that I know was hard for me is that if you want people to relate to you, and when they relate to you, they'll join your team or buy from you, is that they want to see your face. People don't associate or feel as comfortable with people unless they know them and they can relate to them. And the best way that they can is with showing your face. So I'm sure you guys all who are friends with me know my crazy faces that I make, but and my friends and family make fun of me for it, but you don't need to make crazy faces like I do. But if they see your face and it's smiling when you earn a cruise or when you earn Rome, then they're relating to you as a person. So make sure you do that. So that's what I do. That's basically a small portion of that is social media training, but basically make sure to do that. And then make sure you're posting 1 out of 3 posts about tea, and at least once a week in your personal page about the business opportunity. The next biggest thing that's huge is you must recognize your team. I don't care if your team, whatever they're doing, make sure you recognize them. I know some people don't have teams, and you can post about other people, other consultants that do have, did things, like someone who earned the cruise or did this, whatever, you could post about them and congratulate them. But if you recognize your team, you're doing three things. First off, you're making someone on your team feel amazing because you're highlighting them. Second, you're making their friends realize that they're accomplishing things. And third, you're making your friends realize that you know how to sponsor people. So recognizing your team on your personal Facebook page is probably non-negotiable. You should be doing it. I do it once a week. You can do it as much as you want, but that will bring your team to such higher levels. And I know whenever I spotlight people, usually they get a consultant within, that week. And so that's why I like to do it. And, or they have people talking to them about it. So make sure that you recognize them for sure on your public Facebook and, tag them and say why they're doing amazing. And I know people say, well, nobody on my team is doing anything. If they have their first qualified party, that's huge. If they have, now they get to a pin and they get that advent calendar. How amazing is that? That's all you need to say, because then someone who's thinking about becoming a consultant sees, oh, wow, she was able to get her the advent calendar and a pin and have a qualified party. Or if they earn their kit back on their launch party, whatever they're doing, post about it, because people will be fascinated by it. Their friends and your friends. And, even if they get their first recruit, I mean, that's huge. It took me a year to get my first recruit in my last direct sales. So if it takes you, when they do that and they get their first recruit, that is huge. And it also makes them, instead of also feeling good, it also makes them more motivated to work the business because they know that you're besides them. And it also makes other people realize that you do care about your team. So recognition is definitely a must. I do it weekly, if not more. Sometimes I do it, at least I do Sunday Spotlight for those who aren't friends with me on Facebook. And I just pick out someone in my whole downline, not necessarily personally sponsored, but I just pick someone in my downline every Sunday. And I've seen that be huge for my whole team. Everyone on this call should have a VIP group. I don't care if you do. Mommy. Brody, I'm on a call. You want to say hi?
Hi.
Sorry. So make sure you have a VIP group. Every single person, I don't care if you do in-home parties or online parties. It is my biggest tool for sure with respect to both sales and recruits. And in there, again, I talk only about tea. I don't talk about my life, but I try to add my life in as much as possible in my face. And then I talk about the business opportunity every other day in there. And I just bring up something. Brody, I'm on a call. Okay, I love you. And you talk about so much for locking my door. Sorry, guys. And so you talk about, don't worry, my husband's all, I'm not child abusing people. So you make sure in your VIP group that you post about the business opportunity every other day and anything it could be. When they came out with that advent calendar, I posted about that in my VIP group. If it's, you could do recognition of your team, and I do some recognition of my team in there. If there's, if it's Sunday and all of a sudden I realize I have two people to discuss, I'll discuss one in there. When Tanya messages me, if I'm talking to Tanya and Melanie, I'm like, how amazing, and they're in my group, so this is embarrassing, but I'm like, how amazing is it that this is what the founder and president has to say? How sweet are they? This is why I love working for this company. Any prize you get, and this goes for your normal Facebook too, any prizes you get with this business restart, even if it's just the pin, post about it, because it shows that that Steep Tea values you and that you're doing well. Obviously, any trips you earn, you would post in there. I talk about how working from home sometimes gets lonely, but then I have my Steep Tea family, how much my team means to me, everything like that in the VIP group. But there I talk about the business opportunity probably like 3 or 4 times a week. And I feel as though that's where I probably get my most recruits from, is my VIP page. And then in your parties, obviously for doing live parties, you talk about the business opportunity. I know I don't have to tell you that. But on my Facebook parties, I actually talk about it twice. And I first talk about it, I go live. So I do a 1-hour Facebook event at night, so usually 8:30 to 9:30 p.m. So I go live prior to that, and I say all about Steeped and why I love it and how I joined and what I did in 6 months. And I tell more about the business background. I was a finance major, for those of you that don't know me, in college, and I always study companies, and I was very into direct sales and studying direct sales. And I studied Steep Tea, and I tell people that, and just all about the ground floor opportunity and how it's about to explode in the US. I mean, guys, we're so lucky to be in this ground floor opportunity. It's crazy. But I discuss that and that enthusiasm in my live videos of before the party. And I feel as though most people who watch that do get intrigued by the business opportunity. I have a lot of people contact me before the party even starts about the business opportunity, because I go live and say how much I love it and, what it's done for me and how much I was able to accomplish and how they were backed by 2 dragons. And now we have Melanie as president and how she's brought a lot of companies, to do so well from this standpoint. And I feel as though when people hear that, they are interested already before the party even starts. And then in the second part where I mention it is in the live party, one of the last posts I post is just how great this business opportunity is. And I write it all out. And then I tell them, and my whole team does this, we tell them they could join a special group if they are interested in the opportunity. And I give the link to the special group opportunity. I call it All About the Opportunity. So I have like 60 people in it. So my downline just told me today that I spelled opportunity wrong, which is embarrassing. But the opportunity group is there. Anyone could join it from the party. Sandy actually helped me come up with this idea. And I have seen such a huge growth in my team from this All About the Opportunity group. So if anyone ever discusses with me, not in a party, first of all, I have people from parties join it, and it's been doing amazing things for my team because my whole team uses the same script. But also it has been a huge, for anyone who messages me and says they might be interested in tea, then I just send them to this All About the Opportunity group. So the All About the Opportunity group has certain slides that I posted. I started at the beginning of the month, so I don't know what I'm going to do next month. I might start a new All About the Opportunity group. But it has, I think, 10 or 15 slides just about the difference of the opportunity. Obviously, Tanya on Dragon's Den is huge. I put that video, and I posted a bunch of other things. And just a bunch of slides. I could, obviously, if anyone wants, I could send these slides to you if you post my party. It's all on Post My Party. Or I can invite you to the group. I know a few of you are in my group. And then anytime anything's relevant with respect to Steep Tea, I post in that All About the Opportunity group. So when that advent calendar came out that you could buy, that you could earn it, I posted in that. I post there too. I post about, different things that Melanie says to me or Tanya says to me or, different things that I learn or how much I love my team and things like that. And I find that everyone who joins, I feel like almost everyone who joined the All About the Opportunity has signed on to my team. And it's just been great for, or is at least seriously thinking about it. And I feel like it's been huge for, I think someone just, Jillian, I think you just screen shared. I don't know if anyone sees me or that, but anyway, no big deal. I'll keep talking. And so make sure you have this All About the Opportunity group for you and your team. If you're a leader or you have people under you, it's such an amazing tool to have. And if you want to join mine, let me know. And then also a big thing is, I try to get my recruits qualified as fast as possible. Obviously, we're all working for cruises or Nashville or Shanghai, whatever we're working for. I can't even keep track of what I'm working for anymore. But whatever you're trying for, you need qualified recruits. And the cruise is obviously harder because the cruise is $500 in 1 month as opposed to $500 in 3 months for Nashville, Shanghai. So I run my downlines launch party before they even get the kit most of the time. I let them decide, but I give them the option. Like I signed someone up yesterday. I'm running her launch party on Sunday. So I sign up, I do it before they even get the kit, and I just do it online. Obviously, a lot of you I know do in-home, and I think you could do that too, but there's no reason to not have an online party either in conjunction with or instead of a launch party. And then you could do, if you want to teach them in home, that's great. You could teach them like a week later when their kit actually arrives. But I've had 6 recruits since the cruise started become qualified for cruise purposes within their first week because I just throw their launch party before they even get their kit. So it buys us more time for the 30 days than it does if they had to wait for their kit. So, I mean, I usually do this mostly for people who were customers prior. If new consultants want to, I definitely do. I feel like a lot of the people on my team who become consultants are already tried my tea, so they already know. Sometimes, though, I think it might be better if they do get their kit first, but I usually let them decide. And it's been super, it's been easy for me to qualify consultants because they can, because I throw the launch party, and then after that, they usually get host. And I've had, I think, I don't know, out of like my 45 personally sponsored people that I have on my team, I think at least like 15 to 20 of them got a consultant on their first launch party because I talk about the opportunity the same way. I do the exact same thing for them. And the good thing about running their launch party is that you could host coach them the way that they're supposed to coach their host in the future. So I tell them exactly what they're supposed to do. And I could go on for an hour about coaching hosts, but I tell them what to do and to message their friends and what they're supposed to do and how they go through the party. But then when you're holding their hand for the first party, then when they have to turn around in a week, hopefully, I mean, I always like to have them book parties off their launch party, then they're going to be able to do exactly what you told them to do. So that's how you start them being successful, because even if they don't get, $500, which is what the, obviously it is to become qualified in the first party, if they have a $200 party or $250 party, then when they turn around and they throw their next party, they can become qualified because they'll have 500 under them because they'll use the same tools that you do. So that's definitely great. And I feel like I do that for all of them. And then they turn around and they help their consultants, and some people on my team don't feel comfortable even after the first time throwing a party, and that's fine. I'm willing to hold their hand and obviously do another party for them. It's nothing for me. I just do post my party and it posts for me. So it's not really a big deal. If they want me to do a second or third party for them, I'll do that as well, whatever they feel comfortable with. But it's just easier for both of us if I just do it and I walk them through and pretend that they're the host, because then they know what to do in the future with respect to their host. So that's basically everything. I know I speak really fast and I said a lot, so I'm definitely open to any questions anyone has. There's a chat button on here, or you could unmute your line if anyone wants to talk. Anyone have any questions? Nope.
Thank you.
Thank
No
you
problem.
so much, Laura. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem at all. If you guys have any questions, you can shoot me a message. So yeah, that's basically what I do. And I hear someone talking, I think. Someone have a question? Oh, I think it's just, okay. Well, if anyone has any questions, I can't tell if I hear someone or not. Always feel free to message me, and I hope that was helpful, and thank you for joining. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for your time. Appreciate it, Laura.
Thanks, Laura.
No problem.
Good night.
Good night.